Welcome to the first ever Good Thinking without curse words.
Yes. When this comes out, it will be after Chinese New Year, but we are trying our best to be on our best behavior so that the universe blesses us with good things. So if you catch a curse word, pretend you didn't hear it because we didn't say it.
We're wearing the colors. We're doing all the things.
Yeah, but what we do have, I have my just a fraction of red on. But what we do have for you is an awesome podcast all about travel with Tori from Window Seat, who writes an amazing Substack that I loyally read. And we talk all about everything hospitality, hotels, airports as a destination, and so many wonderful things. And if you are not in the hospitality space, there's a lot in here about world building and brand experience that I think is really worthwhile listening to.
Yeah. And Tori, she's just an awesome human being, and how she got into this in the first place is, to me, so fascinating, of kind of getting into the thing that was the obstacle to really overcome to get into the space, and now how she just enjoys it so much. And I think there's, she comes at it from that brand lens, having been in-house. And I think there's so many lessons in hospitality in general and that we talk about that are applicable to so many brands. So we hope you enjoy it. We'd love to hear your comments. Give the algorithm some love. Share it with somebody if you liked it. Let us know.
Yeah, and share it with any of your hotel friends if they need to know where to put the mirror, because we get into that too.
Yeah, there's a lot of insight for hotel people. And if they want to have us come and do an audit, depending on their location, we'll do that too. Enjoy
it. Hey everyone, it's Chris.
And Kirsten.
Welcome to Good Thinking Weekly, the podcast where we discuss the best of the best in brands, marketing, and culture.
Thousands of people, top execs from the likes of Complex, Klaviyo, Walmart, Wall Street Journal, and LVMH tune in every single week.
We run a creative consultancy in Good Co, so we know what it takes to build a good brand.
Subscribe on YouTube, your favorite podcast app, and Good Thinking on Substack for more.
All right, let's dive in.
Welcome to a very special episode of Good Thinking.
Hello, Tori.
Hi,
Welcome.
Tori.
Hello. So excited to be here.
Yeah. The last time we chatted, we were sitting, drinking wine in a New York City bar, and, it was fun times. And it's nice we kind of manifested this chat then. But for those of you who don't know Tori writes one of the best travel Substacks there is, called Window Seat. And yeah, tell us a little bit more about your background, because you have a fun story about not liking flying and how you came to write your Substack.
Yeah, so I've been writing Window Seat for about 2 years now, and I started it because 10 years ago, I had a horrific fear of flying. And through exposure therapy and learning about the process of flying, I developed this fascination with it, and I wanted to share that with the world. So I started writing Window Seat, sharing my love of traveling, the love of the journey as much as the destination. And I also have a background in corporate brand strategy, so that kind of helps inform how I write as well.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love about you.
And we chat about it when we were in New York, but I feel like that we could spend the entire time on the podcast talking about how you went through something that was so hard for you, and then you've found such joy and experience in it, and now you're sharing it with the world, which is so rad. Have you always been somebody that's been oh, there's this thing in my way, I'm going to blow it up and kind of get past it, and then I know there will be magic and beauty past that?
I think so. I mean, I'm originally from Ohio. I moved to New York 9 years ago. I was always somebody who wanted adventure and magic in my life. So that's part of the reason why I decided to move to New York City. When it comes to overcoming my fear of flying, I don't think it's something that I necessarily set out to do. I wasn't somebody that was I'm going to overcome this fear, but I did want to see the world. Through trying to overcome that fear, I just realized that I loved the process of learning about airplanes. And then through that process of learning, I was these are just magnificent machines. And now it's something that I love learning about. I love being on them, and I love sharing that information with other people to help them try to overcome their fears too. Because I think a lot of people are just held back by the not knowing of it all. You get on a plane and you're how that, does this thing sing in the sky?
Totally.
Giant thing.
Yes.
So I think just helping people understand even just a little bit about how that works is so comforting. So I think hearing somebody like me talk about that maybe is a little bit more helpful than like hearing a pilot say it or somebody who's more ingrained in the industry.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, I love that. And you like watch all these documentaries. I mean, I could go on and on. We could just make the whole
Right.
podcast about you overcoming your fear, because I do think
Yes.
about it a lot. And I'm like, if I ever have a fear, I'll just take it on the way Tori carries on.
Yeah, it's
But
amazing. Truly.
to get to kind of like one of the things I love also about your Substack, and like I love a lot of things about it, but one of them is FOMO for like all the places I want to go. But you write about things like from the perspective of brand, which not all travel Substacks really do. Like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, it's great destinations. And you write like a lot about like all of that wonderful stuff too. But you also kind of approach it of like, hey, if you're a brand in the travel, hospitality, or even not, quite honestly, because I think a lot of the things that you share are applicable across category. You do that really well. So the section that I wanted to I have so many questions for you, and like, unsurprisingly, we won't have enough time for all of my questions. I'm guaranteed.
So it'll probably be a series, if you will.
Yeah, but I asked you kind of to share some of your favorite hotels that you have been to or haven't been to from the perspective of kind of like, what's the brand takeaway? Like, what is the thing that kind of makes this special? Like, obviously, and brand could be so big, right? It's like brand perception or amenities or services or gosh, the list goes on. So you have a great list. I made my list. We'll go back and forth. And if you're ready, start taking notes, because you're about to want to go to a lot of places. And, you know, I'm not going to cover every single one in this show notes. So,
yeah, I mean, this is basically like everybody's about to get a front row window seat to like, I mean, it's already starting, right? And how early is it here? To like, literally, I mean, you guys are both like gurus of travel, right? Chris, you travel a ton. I travel a bit with you. And it's like, we always see and try to find the best of the best. So I feel like this is like spilling the tea. Like they're getting some secrets as far as this is kind of the list. All right.
So tell us about the first one on your list, Park Hyatt Tokyo and Kyoto, which are obviously two different places.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know that. And tell us everything about it.
Yeah, so I'm a huge Park Hyatt fan. I
know you are.
Goal of staying at all of them in the world. I think there's about 50 some or so that are open right now. They're opening a bunch more this year. And I love them because they have this really anticipatory service. They're very restrained in their luxury, and all of the properties are different. We'll get into that. But Park Hyatt Tokyo, you may know it from Lost in Translation. It's one of my favorite films. And so because it has this kind of like legendary status in this film, it has this built-in mythology that it has to live up to before you even stand on property. So there's that, but then you get there and you find that it's in a world of its own. It has this cultural relevance already because of New York Bar. It's this like legendary jazz bar that you walk into. So it's a great bar. It has this like world that it's built, which I love. And then conversely, Park Hyatt Kyoto feels so different on the opposite end of the spectrum, whereas Park Hyatt Tokyo feels like very kind of snazzy, jazzy. Park Hyatt Kyoto feels very quiet, restrained, which is funny because it's in a very, very populated area of Kyoto. It's right smack in the middle of the Higashiyama Ward, right by Yasaka Pagoda and Pagoda. Oh my gosh. So it's very densely populated with tourists, but it doesn't feel like it at all. Really marvelous. You walk into the property and you feel like you're kind of like in the countryside or like somewhere where you're not. And I feel like they just do such a great job with the design and the service of making you feel like you're just in a world away, you know? So it's just a beautiful experience at both, but so different. And you get that at any Park Hyatt you walk into.
Right. And is it, because I had the $400 Wagyu burger in Tokyo? Is that like a thing across the board, or is that just Tokyo and then Kyoto has something else?
I mean, I think you can get that probably anywhere in Japan, but I've also had like really amazing Wagyu, like that's $90.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. Like so we went to an Aman recently up by me in the Dolomites, and it was a little bit like, so I loved it. It was amazing. And it was, I guess, built into the landscape, shall we say. Like it had an alpine vibe. But I think that it's a strategy of like, okay, an Aman always feels like an Aman. doesn't really kind of matter where you are. Like you could have, if you stripped away the beautiful trees in the background that were kind of like over the mist of the pool, which was, I mean, it was stunning, guys. I'm not like, there's no shade on this hotel, but it's from a strategic point of view, like it feels like you're looking for consistency, and it's quite risky, I think, to kind of take an approach where or can get cheesy. I find some of the places that you go to where it's like, oh, we're trying to make it not the same every single time, right? So, and you've written about Park Hyatt Chicago, and I love like what they did with the coat concierge. You've got to tell everybody about that. But like I'd like to unpack Park Hyatt just as a strategy, just for a second, because it
Yeah,
feels like its own kind of vibe.
I love it so much. What I think that their whole ethos is it's supposed to feel like a home away from home. So you walk in and the lobby's a little bit smaller. It feels just a little bit more welcoming. Again, like I said, it feels a little bit more restrained. And it's supposed to feel a little bit more residential. So
Mm,
whereas, like you said, a lot of other properties are supposed to feel a little bit more consistent. Think with Park Hyatt, like they want to feel a little bit more residential in the sense where if you go to Chicago, it feels a little bit more like Chicago. You go to Kyoto, it feels a little bit more like Kyoto. And it might feel like a residential space within the context of that place. So it's not trying to be Kyoto in like the tourist sense, it's trying to be Kyoto in the residential sense.
that's interesting. Belmond kind of has that vibe for me. I stayed at a Belmond in Myanmar for my wedding honeymoon, and it was just, I mean, like ever since I'm like Belmond is like to me like the pinnacle of hospitality, and they very much have that kind of. It's like you're walking into someone's house. Like, I mean, it might be Wes Anderson's house, or it might be like Sultan's house, but you feel like you're walking into somebody's house in terms of how like even just the way like the customer service feels that way. And I feel like the Ace used to try to do that, and then they kind of like lost that vibe. And the Brooklyn one doesn't go there for me lately.
Yeah. But I feel like is it in thinking about the customer, right? Is it somebody, and we've all been there, like somebody that travels a shit ton and you want to go and experience something of a particular city and of a particular niche, but you also want something that isn't going to be, okay, where's the elevator? And that was the issue with the Ace. It was like, sorry, oh, I almost swore, but I didn't. Where's the faucet to be able to figure out how to turn the shower on or off? Like, that was always like figuring that out, whereas Park Hyatt probably has some, like, really sophisticated elements to it, and it feels more local, but it's also for somebody who travels, 300 days a year.
Yeah, it's like, the lights are right next to the bed and it controls the entire room, like it should be that way. I shouldn't have like I was at a hotel recently where the knobs in the like there were knobs in the bathroom for the lights and the shower and there were two showers and it was like you push and also you turn and I was like I literally have no idea like am I stupid? I don't think so, but like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
No.
it's
There's
hard.
there's a
We have
petition
these
right now.
conversations.
I mean, literally, like on a daily basis of traveling, do we talk about mirror placement? Like, it seems like mirror placement, like, is like, I don't want to look at myself sitting on the toilet. I want to look at myself getting dressed from a distance that I can actually see myself dressed.
We could have
Like,
an entire conversation about hotel bathrooms. Men, stop designing hotel bathrooms. Bring more women into designing
yes,
hotel bathrooms. Please, for the love of
Amen.
this is a
this like,
petition.
placement, like we need to talk.
Yeah. There was in the Wall Street Journal, they talked about there's this petition going on now called Bring Back the Doors, because they're saying it's so funny. It's like how many toilets, like they might not even have a door, but if they do have a door, they're like the sliding doors or like a glass door or frosted door, and then there's like a area where there's like just an open space above, and you're like, guys, like
Wow.
if you're starting out dating somebody, you need walls, like let's install walls. So if you get nothing out of this podcast today, it's mirror placement, doors, walls, and lighting not having the same switch as
Yes.
the bathroom
Those should just
faucet.
be fundamentals. I mean, the Holiday Inn should be able to figure that out. Full-length mirror, every room, period.
And proper
No
lighting.
exception.
I want to be able to see myself in the bathroom. Like the amount of hotels I go into and it's so dark in the bathroom. And I'm like, I need to be able to look at myself. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
Good bathroom lighting and the magnetic mirror, like that's the magnified mirror. That's the
Yeah. But this is also something that we talk a lot about in retail too, is like the bathroom is kind of your number one place for taking a selfie, like the mirror placement in general. So if you want people to share from your hotel where they are, and you want to do outfit of the day content or getting ready content, which is basically all the content, then you need to put the mirror in a place where people aren't ashamed, because I'm not going to post getting ready with me content with a toilet behind me.
yes.
This is something
101 content
we also
rule.
remarked on. Speaking of Park Hyatt Chicago, when we were doing a tour there, they they had all these beautiful bathtubs, and they had the little like wooden, what is it, like, that you can put the bath.
Yes,
The
to
tray.
put in your
Yeah.
book and read your book.
Yeah.
Right. That's such a nice touch. But then they took it a step further and they put like bath salts and bubble baths and like had a bunch of like bathtub amenities that you could use while you're in the bathtub, which so many hotels do not give you when you have a room with a bathtub. And I can't imagine that the cost per goods is that high on something like that. So it's like, why not
No.
include that when
Yeah.
you have a room type that includes a bathtub? So, and again, it's a
People
brand.
are not traveling with their bath salts. Like, let's just be clear. Like, travel bath salts are not on
True
the
story.
priority of things. Like, and we're going supplements, skincare, and then bath salts is like 8, 9, 10. It's not happening. I do know people that travel with candles.
Right. I think it's also like, you know, both of you are kind of from a brand experience standpoint. If somebody does actually use the bath, use the bath salts, like their experience just like triples in what that is, what they want to tell people, what they want to send photos about, kind of all of the parts and pieces. It's such an easy, it's literally there for you, and they're just ask for it and just fulfill that, and it's tenfold.
Will say that's one place at Soho House. Like, I have so many issues with, like, okay, I'm going to use this
The
moment to put
soap
a PSA.
and the lotion.
PSA in is that the soap color and the lotion color are wrong. You need to switch them around. Lotion should be white and soap should be black, and everybody knows it. And like, I'll just have to put that out there. But because it doesn't make sense that lotion is lotion. That's one of the lovely things about going to the Soho House, right? Is they always have like all of the different scrubs and all. And I'm sure that like people are, I get in there with my daughter and she's probably used all of them, and it's very expensive for them. But generally speaking, like, it's not that expensive. It's the same thing about like the people who insist on like attaching it to the wall and you can't take
So you
it
can't
off.
steal it.
And it's like, how unfriendly is this? Like, you make me feel like a thief the second I get in the shower. It's the same as the CVS. Like, I don't want to shop at CVS. I'm shopping on Amazon because CVS makes me feel like a criminal. So,
Right. Remove
Right.
the friction.
yes.
And it's
exactly. Anyway,
expectation. It's expectation.
Yeah.
Like, I think we did a podcast and have talked a lot about that, Tori, as far as like, here's the expectation. And you can feel it when you go in a Park Hyatt, what the expectation of, their customer is. And, you could be like, oh, well, I want to be that. I want to emulate that. I want to be somebody that travels to all of these 50 hotels for sure. And I think your experience and the way you behave rises to that.
Yeah,
I'll say,
but before we move on from Park Hyatt, you have to tell them about the coat thing, because that
Yes.
also is like
I've heard
a
about
great
this, but I
brand
need to hear it
experience.
firsthand.
yes. So Park Hyatt Chicago has a partnership with Canada Goose for something that they call the Coat Concierge, so that when you're traveling to Chicago and let's say you forget your coat or you don't realize how chilly Chicago and the climate can get.
Chilly is not the word.
Right.
Frigid.
Frigid, any one of those adjectives. You can call down to the front desk. You can rent a coat, a very warm Canada Goose jacket. And it's just such a natural, organic partnership that is so, like, it just makes sense. It's like,
Yeah.
no duh, but like the amount of people that could use that, like forget their codes, like I'm here. I'll say this. I never wanted a Canada Goose jacket. I never cared about the brand. Literally never crossed my mind. And when I stayed at the hotel, they put one in our rooms just complimentary. And I put that jacket on and I fell in love. And I was like, this is the nicest coat I've ever put on my body. I looked it up. It was like $2,000. And I was like, never mind. I'm not buying that. But it was so nice. And that was like an amazing brand moment where I was like, now there's that association and I'm thinking about this. So
Yeah.
It was
And
Love that.
you might not be buying it, but there are plenty of people who find that $2,000 coat is, and honestly, if you live in Chicago, well worth the investment,
yes.
because that's no joke. But I think like so much like in general, like we talk about like steamers and just amenities for people to have, like being able to get them in the room. And I think so many places like sometimes have these things and then they don't publicize them. Whereas like some places that I've gone to have like a really lovely menu in the room where it's like, if you need this, and it's
Mhm.
like, here are all the scenarios. And you're like, yes, this feels like you can see what it's like to travel somewhere. Like so many places, like in general, like there's like one hangar and it's a hotel in New York. How many people are in New York and who are not caring about what they wear? You're either traveling for work, you're traveling to see friends and go out on a nice night out in town, like with the ladies, or you're, you know, like there for a wedding. Like these are the reasons that you come to New York City. Like, let's be honest. Every single one of them involves an outfit. Why is there only one hanger or not even a closet? So, you know, I think it's just so many things. Like I'll carry on because I'm definitely like taking us places we don't need to go.
Yeah.
Tell us more.
Keep
Palm
us going on your
Heights.
list, Tori.
I want to go to Palm Heights. Is it
It's a great segue because you
okay?
just mentioned menus in the room, and Palm Heights actually has a pillow menu in their room
Ooh,
from a bunch of different pillows, and I thought
What?
that was such a stunning amenity.
Yes, please.
So I love that. But Palm Heights is an amazing property. I'm not big on beach or like Caribbean style hotel, so it's funny that that's one of my favorite hotels. But I think what they do so well is it's first of all it's so design forward, and I'm somebody who loves like a very well designed hotel. It's very fashion literate. You'll see like a very like well dressed, nice like fashiony crowd there. Great about that is I think that they are the hotel that does programming very well. Like they will bring everybody that's at the hotel together in a really fun,
mm,
natural, organic, like not forced way. Like everybody that's there wants to actually hang out with everybody that's there, which is really
Mm.
right.
cool.
You're going there to like hang out with the crowd. That's hard to do and fun
Very fun.
to experience. I bet Kirsten's like, I'm booking. Like she's already
I mean,
there.
I happen to love beach hotels, so I'm curious why you don't in general love beach hotels, but I don't really love like Tommy Bahama themed beach hotels. I like beach hotels that are like of essence of whatever the culture is there.
I think for me, I'm not somebody who like I don't love like a fly and flop vacation as much as I like a city like run around type of vacation.
Fly and flop. I love it.
Yeah, I think most of the hotels that I've stayed at on a more beachy type of vacation, like the service hasn't been as great. I think
Mm,
a lot of times, like this is a generalization, but I think maybe for service providers at those hotels, they assume that people don't like the standards aren't as high because people are just there to relax, so they don't
mm,
the
that's
bar
no good.
high. That's just been my experience, but not at Palm Heights. The service there is absolutely excellent. So it's just an amazing hotel.
I'm in.
One of
Sign me up.
my favorite fly and flop hotels is Menorca. I'm going to use that
Yeah.
from now on. Only
Well,
staying at fly
100%.
and
Those are the
flops.
only vacations I'm taking.
Menorca Experimental. Have you been there?
I actually have. I went there last year. I didn't stay there, but I went there for dinner.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and like I think they do a really good job because kind of in the like sort of home category, residential category that you were talking about, it feels very much like you just showed up at someone's villa, and
Yes.
you are staying in kind of like literal villas. But they do a great job of like the spa is excellent, but it's tiny, you know.
Mhm.
But like the service provide, I mean, the massage that you're going to get at that hotel will change your life. I would go just to go see Pilar again. Like the fact that I remember her name from 2 years ago tells you everything about this
The only
experience.
name she remembers.
It's true. I literally never can remember her name. Pilar is like embedded in my frontal lobe. But I
Greece.
think that goes to like an experience thing, right? Like, you know, again, like spa, amenity, people like the people remembering you, them bringing you together in the right way. Like Casa Bonet does a lot of like programming too at their bar in Barcelona. And like when we went to their New Year's party and you felt like you were literally showing up at a friend's house and they brought
Very
gifts.
cool.
They brought like literal presents for my daughter to the dinner table
Mm.
because they were like, a 4-year-old's coming to a New Year's party. And she was not the only 4-year-old, by the way. and they brought presents for everyone. And it just made you feel like you were just showing up at your best friend's house and like there for the ride. It was amazing.
That's cool. Okay, you guys have to unpack this a bit for me because I have not been to this hotel. And I feel like as you're explaining it, right, it's kind of you feel very at home and kind of fitting into this residential category. But as I see it, and I was sending me or I was digging into it when Chris was thinking about going, it's very like social driven content, right? Like you see it on Instagram, you're like, oh, I want to go there. Like it feels very cool and kind of built up and a kind of a scene, which I wouldn't think of as residential. And I think the experience then feels very personal, like as kind of a brand strategy for hospitality. Like break that down for me.
I think it's all about how you feel when you're there, right? So like, for example, when I was in Menorca, I stayed at a hotel called Tora Villa, and it's very small, it's very intimate. And so when you're there, like you maybe don't see a lot of people when you're there, and it almost feels like you have the place to yourself a lot of times. And so it feels like a lot of the spaces are yours when you're there. And maybe when you're dining, you know, a lot of the times it's almost like a private dining room, or it's like your living room at times. That hotel in particular makes its own olive oil, you know, and that feels special, and that feels kind of like family driven, like in that residential sense, you know. It's those like special, more intimate details than you might get at a larger chain or even just a bigger hotel.
Yeah, we could talk about mini bar like amenities all day too. Like that's another one. Like just finding small. You could be a big chain, and when I find a small brand at a big chain, so like I think like the Ludlow is not a chain really, but like there's lots of brands that I can think of. But it's like when you find really thoughtful brand curation, and the same goes for the gift shop, like which I think is an underrated kind of brand flex. Like if you have a really good gift shop, it tells you everything you need to know about the hotel.
Totally agree.
Like you know if you're going to have a good time just based on the gift shop. Like, and I almost never buy, like I'm not like a big like, oh, I got to get something from the gift shop, but like it tells me everything I need to know. Everything.
I'm the opposite. I am somebody who I'm like, if there's a gift shop, I am like, I need the candle, I need the hat, I need a tote. Like if it's good merch, like
Right.
I'm not staying at
Solid merch.
doesn't have good merch, first of all. But like Palm Heights has incredible merch. They have this like on-site gift shop called Dolores, which is also kind of like a curated boutique in addition to the merch that they have, which is amazing. But you gotta go. You gotta go, guys.
Yeah. It's true. I feel like gift shops were like great like 15 years ago when Standard and all of that was happening. But I think somebody that does it really well is Bunkhouse Group. If you've ever been to their properties, do gift shops quite well. Like they're very curated with like a local aesthetic and kind of some local products, but also like whatever the vibe is of that. Like they've got robes in different colors depending on the locations. So it feels like it's a good mix of those things, which I think is hard to do.
That's like Ash Group as well. Are you familiar with Ash?
No.
No. Or maybe I am and I don't even know it.
There's like
Tell me more.
in Detroit.
We just went there.
We just stayed there.
Yes, we are, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had a very cute gift shop. I will say that we got a room that had no windows, so it left a little bit to be desired. But the I will say, like, and this is something that I think a lot of restaurants are kind of catching on to, is the fact that like the restaurants and the bars, and I would include spa in this, although they didn't have one, but like they were all places that you would want to go to regardless of it be like where it was. Like a lot of times it used to be like, oh, I'm not going there because it's a hotel restaurant. Like that's not going to be good. And nowadays I almost feel like it's the opposite. Like I have an expectation that if you're an excellent hotel, you're going to have an excellent restaurant and an excellent bar that I couldn't find anywhere else. Like that thought level. And I think that's different to how it used to be even 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. And the bars at the Siren really spoke to that. Like there were 3 or 4, God, I can't remember, different bars, and they all each had an own individual vibe, which is really impressive and really hard to do. They were quite different and unique, but all felt right for the.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
3 or 4.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit, we learned, is quite a party. Like, goodness me. Like we were only there for one night, and we thought we were just gonna like hop on in, and it was like we ended up having to have a lot of coffee the next day because there was a lot more going on in Detroit than we had any idea.
Good to know.
I highly recommend it. All right.
All right.
Keep
So
going on your
which
list.
on your yeah. Tell us more about the ones that you maybe want to go to. Unless there's one on the list that we haven't talked about. Like,
Let
There's a
me.
couple.
I
Hotel.
think
yeah.
hotel cost. Okay, so I feel like maybe out of what we haven't talked about so far, just like building a brand world and a brand,
Mm,
it's like that's what hotel cost does so well through all of the senses too. I mean, sight, sound, smell. Not just, I mean, any brand or any hotel can make a radio station, right? But like hotel cost like presses their own vinyls, and they've been doing it for
I
like
mean,
decades at this point.
Kirsten knows where she's staying next.
it's such an iconic hotel, and it's interesting,
Yeah.
that it's been that from the start. And how do you create that? How do you do that?
It's I don't even know, but they've done such an incredible job, and like the signature scent is so wonderful, and like I think, it's like it's been an institution, and then they opened up this new wing that is kind of more contemporary, and it's still like it has a whole new kind of vibe, but it still fits into the world, and I think
Mm,
that's challenging to do, but I think that they just have kind of like pioneered that kind of world building that other hotels like, the Ash Group have kind of like tried to follow suit. So I think they've
Yeah.
kind of
yeah.
did
But
that.
I also think it's the idiosyncrasies with like the kind of like minutia detail. Like it's a little bit like the bunkhouse robes, right? Like they're unusual, they're different, like they're not to everyone's taste. And I think that as I think about this all the time after I'm like addicted. I have a Claude Code addiction, everybody. It's
This
been
is
1
true.
week. I've made 3 things this week.
This is
And
true.
one of the things that I've learned through doing this process is that like the desire, like anything digital, like anything feels throwaway now. Like it's like I can make it in an afternoon and I don't need to care about it anymore. So as we enter kind of that world and like maybe I'm 6 months ahead of the majority, but I'm definitely not that much further ahead of the majority. As we become like literally throwaway culture that you had in your clothing, you're going to have to digital experiences like apps and websites and everything will just feel completely disposable. These kind of really thoughtful, idiosyncratic, strange, very human, clearly somebody's random taste that they like had some conviction and threw down and said no, like it has to be weird robes, and like even though they're not warm enough and even though they're not big enough for men to wear, like they're still great, like is gonna feel even better than it ever felt.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
And you
I'm
need
a big
every
fan.
brand needs to be leaning into that regardless of who they are, in my opinion.
Yeah, I also think going back to what Tori's saying about hotel cost is there's so many brand lessons that started in hospitality, or maybe not started in hospitality, but certainly are shown in hospitality. I think
Mm,
world building is certainly one of them.
yeah. Yeah, hard to do, but like, and you can tell when somebody tries to contrive it. So I think like that's also part of it is like you can do it quickly. Like I think Palm Heights has done a fair amount of world building and like has managed to do it kind of in a short span of time. Maybe like the H&M collaborations have cheapened it a little bit, but if they hadn't done that, like I'm putting aside some bad choices, like I think that they've done a good job of showing how you can actually do that in a hurry if you need to.
Right. All right. What's on the haven't been to yet list?
Haven't been to yet. Okay, so I have 3 in Japan.
I love this. Yeah. I mean,
Overall fascination with Japan, just feeling that right now. Like,
Just basic girl over here. I feel like the one that's on my list that probably isn't on anybody else's list is called
ooh,
Kyoto Marufukuro, and it is Nintendo's old headquarters. It's in
I
Kyoto.
love this about you. I
Yes,
love
this
I
is
love
cool.
your weird tech side, like, like she like you're like
That's
into
cool.
trading cards and like,
I am
like
who I am.
oh, I love this side of you. Like it's such a unexpected side of Tori.
And I would love to stay in this old building that has so much legacy and history. And I think, it would have been really easy for them to like make it really cheesy and lean too hard into
Mm,
of it all. But I think it's still like a gorgeous building that they really just leaned really well into the nostalgia of it. And it's still a luxury property. And they just have like a hint of the nostalgia where I think it's like in the bar there's like a wall of like ephemera that you can go and look at.
Okay.
It's nice.
Yeah. I mean, the Japanese really do lore and like world building in a way that like few other cultures do. Like, and I think it's because they have so much reverence for like effort, you
Yeah.
know?
I think that's why I'm drawn to Japan so much.
Yeah.
Like it speaks to me in that way. But
All
how
right.
about
I
you have
want to get into your predictions because,
yes, let's do that.
so you were very kind and contributed to the 2026 Good Thinking predictions. And you had a really fun one where you talked about airports being kind of cultural hubs and like not just transit points, like places that you actually want to go to. What made you think that that was true, but also where should I be traveling to?
So I think that, there are probably people out there who are going to be like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't want to spend more time at the airport than I absolutely have to. And that's fair.
They haven't been to Singapore then.
Right, right. I mean, is it Changi? Is that how you,
Changi Airport. Yeah. I mean, it's like a place.
it's a place and it has everything you could ever need in it. Not only is it stunning, the giant waterfall, it has like something like I think 300 retail locations in it.
I
It
mean,
has
it's a full mall.
it like you can literally sleep in it, literally everything, one-stop shop. And you can see other airports are starting to follow suit. LaGuardia is a perfect example. It went
Yeah, LaGuardia.
literally worst to first in the United States
Right.
because it's starting to incorporate everything you could ever need. And it's a beautiful experience. It's wonderful to be at LaGuardia now, which is not something as a New Yorker I thought I would ever say, but here we are.
I mean, it used to be like worse than a bus station.
It was
And it was like the worst bus station you could ever go to. And there was like only food on the outside. For anyone who's never been to LaGuardia, like got inside and it was like Hudson News was like the best thing you were going to find there. And then you'd have to leave for everything else, maybe even leave to go to the bathroom. And now it truly is like it's beautiful there. And they have great lounges and it's a nice experience also for dropping people off, which, I don't really do a lot of, um,
and
but yeah,
the restaurants are amazing, which is not something I ever thought I would say that I would eat at an airport restaurant.
right. No, I mean, no, no airport. I will say that one time in Japan,
That's different. Those are like
I went to like a secret Japanese like sushi place inside of a Japanese like and it was like amazing. Like it was like a 10-seated like omakase like but
sick.
this is kind of what they like what we were talking about is that they just get it. Japanese just people get it. Like it's like they
They're light
want
years.
and the experience. They are light years ahead if you just need to like learn anything. So Kirsten's internet has gone out, so she's not coming back for a while, so we're just going to keep going. But like tell me why like you wrote that airport's a third space for high income travelers. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, we're just starting to see so many other things pop up in other airports that are starting to kind of become more of that destination where we're seeing everything from retail activations to, wellness
Mhm.
spaces pop up to 24-hour dining or fine dining activations. Even just last week, LaGuardia, their Capital One lounge, they did a partnership with Chef Jose Andres.
Hmm. Amazing. Love
Fine dining.
I
Welcome
love
back.
him. But yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and I think that it's tough because I think a lot of brands like it's quite difficult to activate in the airport. Like it's hard to kind of logistically deal with it. But like I think the payoff, like I think about it all the time. Like for work travel, I get to the airport either like 10 minutes before the flight or like 3 hours and 89 minutes before the flight because I've had to check out of my hotel. The meeting is over. I can't meet up with anyone. There's not enough time. So you end up getting to the airport. And I would love anything more than to like lie in an immortal like lounger for the hour extra that I have than not have to sit in no shade on lounges because I do love a lounge. But like a lot of them leave something to be desired, mostly the Amex lounges. Terrible.
I mean, yes.
But just the worst. But I think that there's so many more amenities that I think brands could create and like that would give people reason. Like, like there's so many bachelorette parties. They all getting there at different times of the day. Let them go do something while they're at the airport.
I
Got
know.
a
And
captive audience.
I think there's so much opportunity for brands, like you said, to capture people before they even get on a plane, especially for not business travelers, but for people who are going on vacations. They're in that super excitable mindset. They're in a buying mindset. They're in that
Mm,
aspirational mindset. They're about to go on vacation. Like you're never in a better mood than you are right before you're about to go on vacation, right? So you like want to buy stuff, like you're in a tax-free environment, So like that is such a great opportunity to get a consumer to not just buy something, but like become loyal to something. So what
totally. Yeah.
opportunity?
Yeah.
I
Vending
post
machines seem to be figuring this out. Vending machine brands seem to be figuring this out before anybody else.
Yeah, that's
Well,
such a
that's because they have low cost.
Right.
And I think that's the part of the problem is this high cost in these airports. Like it's a lot, but like to me, it's like, hey, brands, like get together, figure out what you want to do, partner up with some brands, get some extra money together because I do think you have kind of a captive audience. And I would say also from like a design perspective, like I posted a picture of like just the seating area, the new seating area in Paris, right? And New Charles de Gaulle. And first of all, it was like the biggest Hermes store I've ever seen. Like it was huge. I almost ended up buying Kirsten something from Hermes because I was like in that buying
Great.
mindset. And I was like, what am I doing? Like,
Wait.
pause, time out, go to Starbucks. Go to Starbucks. But just the lounge area, and I think like again, like airports don't like one thing I think that many airports haven't realized is that if they make it feel more like somewhere that you want to spend time, you start to behave like it's somewhere that you want to spend time, like you do shopping and things like that. Whereas if you go to a place that feels like so many, like where it's like very utilitarian and it's like sit here and plug in, that's what people do. They
You're
sit
right.
down, they plug in their laptops, and they sit there like the lemmings that you expect them to be. Whereas if you create the environment that you want them to be participating in, then they participate in it.
Yeah. I think it's
Very
again
true.
It's not
speaks to the
rocket science.
expectations because if you think
Yes.
about like the few moments, I think in Pittsburgh Airport, I think there's a few others that have like great kid experiences and kid moments. And of
Mm,
course, it's only one wing or one terminal or whatever it is, but they're killing it. Like they're killing it. And because you have to go, I think, to the point that um, vending machines work. Yes, there's low cost. You can say share your brand. You can share your product, obviously, quite easily, simply. But the ones that do lean into experience, I think really, really kill it. And then I think there's brand love, there's loyalty, there's all of the things that can grow.
yeah. And I would say that I choose my transit airports like very carefully. Like I will always
Yes.
fly through Munich over Frankfurt like any day of the week because of the kids spaces, because of the food spaces. I just learned that Brussels has like crazy food. Like I was running for my dear life to get to my flight, but I was like trying to take photos for Kirsten as I'm running, like trying to get through past. I'm like, look how many restaurants there are. But I think it makes a difference because if you travel a lot, as I do, like I make really like strategic choices based on the actual airport.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. All
All right.
right. So
What
tell
did I
me
miss?
another. You
Where are
have
we
a
at?
couple other. Well, we're talking about Tori's trend predictions, and you had a couple of other ones in here that I thought were really interesting, like micro vacations. I've heard about people like calling their vacations micro retirements, and I have slight issue with it because I'm like, dude, like a micro retirement is not a 2 week vacation. Like you should be able to take a 2 week vacation. We just need to talk about the state of society if that's where we're at. But tell me about micro vacations.
Yeah, I'm just seeing people on TikTok who are like flying from New York to Europe for a weekend, 2 to 3
Right.
days, calling it a micro vacation. And what I thought was interesting is the stat that I saw, which is the average length of the American vacation was 3 days last year.
That's insanity.
Oh,
That's a problem. That's a problem.
That is, yeah, we need to talk. I mean, America, we have a lot to talk about, but we can add this
Add
to
this
the
to the
list.
list.
But I think this kind of goes into like, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but so many people that I know also like put their work trips and then they'll like squash their personal trips right up against like, yeah, because you almost make the most like, it's like, hey, I'm traveling to, name your city, London or anywhere really. It doesn't have to be a city. And then so you do end up having kind of a 3-day vacation, but it's like on the back end of a trip. And I don't think that people used to do that quite as often as they do now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because PTO policies are becoming more stingy and people don't have as much time or what it is. Like, I feel fortunate now that I work for myself and feel like I have more opportunity to travel, but, it's sad. I wish
Well,
people could.
and I think that if you look at like where corporate America is going, like it's actually more people having more agency because they're getting laid off and they're going off and finding and creating their own careers. But what the benefit of that is that they have more agency over where they are. And I think that you'll begin to see kind of I've seen it with like Kindred or like longer term stays are getting more interesting where longer term stay used to be like really
Yeah.
grim.
Yes, it did.
It was like, here's a shoebox for you to live in and like be very depressed and obviously
Comforters.
Airbnb changed that, but like I think it's interesting to think about kind of how the work population is actually changing. And I'm not sure that like I find that like I'll go to places and there'll be nowhere. There's literally not even a laptop, like a space to put your laptop in the room. But so many people that I know are like, hey, like I can work from anywhere. But I need to work. Like I need to sit down and write the newsletter on a Friday. It doesn't matter where I am in the world. Like that's what I'm doing. And you need to provide places and like think about like kind of the changing population. Cause I don't think a lot of people are really like have clued into that in terms of amenities.
Agreed.
All right.
We
Let's talk
ready?
quick fire
All right.
questions.
Yes, that's what I
All
was
right.
hoping for.
3 things every travel and hospitality brand should do.
Design an unforgettable anchor experience, a la the Coat Concierge at Park Hyatt, Chicago.
Okay.
I think world building, design some kind of brand universe, have that kind of design language. And then I think remove friction before you add
Mm.
features. So like nail the check-in experience, make sure my
Mm.
room arrives hot before we're like talking about adding on other stuff that maybe doesn't make sense or is, ancillary or frivolous.
Yeah, I feel like we need to say that again because
Yeah.
this is so, so important. And especially like traveling as much as we all do and going to a place and having a certain expectation. Like, yes, I'd love all of those great amenities, all of those great experiences. But if this isn't working, like the check-in, you lost me.
I feel like why like the check-in experience is so important. And I feel like not enough hotels are thinking about that and trying to really nail it.
Yeah. It's also the first thing that you do. It's the same as like the key, like the decision around a key and
We
how
need to
keys
talk about
work and
this.
if you should have a physical key. Or we went to a place actually that it was really interesting. They made it like your phone number, like to get in, but then like it was the last 4 digits of your phone number to get in the room. So at least you could remember it. But it's like, I think the key should be up there along, like wrapped up in that check-in experience because I think it again tells you a lot about a hotel.
Right. And sometimes the keys are 300 pounds and that's not helpful. Sometimes it's a physical key that's really tiny. And then if you lose it, you have to mail it back to them for hundreds of dollars. Sometimes it's
I
a
had to do that.
thoughtless credit card, like so many things and such an area of opportunity of detail. Okay. I love this. All right. What's the
Okay.
trend that has you the most excited?
I think right now, romanticizing the journey, like we're seeing this boom in luxury rail travel, luxury sailing. I think that's
Mm.
really exciting. I'm somebody who's always romanticized the journey because, as I mentioned, I love aviation. I'm part of the 5% of the population that actually enjoys being on an airplane. So I'm always romanticizing the journey, but I'm excited to see other people start to do that too.
Yes. I recently was told about the Airbnb for boats and made me all excited about like all sorts of different kinds of travel
Wow.
experiences.
I don't know if I've heard
Yeah. I think it's called Boat Setter. I'll include it in the show notes because clearly like names aren't my thing. But you can rent like all kinds of different boats to go on. So you can rent like a sailboat or you can rent like a speedboat for like a vacation. But
And it
yeah,
comes with
it's
people. It
crazy.
comes with a whole like crew of people that can do the thing, right? You don't have to like.
Right.
But I think some of them are like self-serve. I'll have to talk to Boat Setter and find out for you. And I don't even know if it's Boat Setter, so sorry if I'm saying it wrong. But yeah, interesting. But I do think it's like I think the destination, but it's also the variety of destinations for me. Like it's like the two. Super interesting. All right. carry on. I keep taking these to places that you don't intend them to go.
What's the one thing many brands get wrong, and who gets it right?
I just confusing luxury for excess instead of restraint.
Mm.
Again, I'm going to bring it back to Park Hyatt, my ride or die. I think they do this the best in my experience. And, I haven't stayed everywhere. But just, instead of like marble and gold and opulence everywhere, it's just let's make it that residential feel. Let's make it feel like you're at home. That's the restraint that I don't want the flashy excess. I don't want to feel like I'm staying at the most palatial place I've ever been. That's luxury to me. The anticipatory service, that's luxury to me.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I think it's also like the small things, like the anticipatory service, like remembering that you've been there. Like we've stayed in some hotels like a few times, and when they like are like, "Hey, Chris, like here's and welcome back," like you're like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I feel like a really special client. Like, and I can read it on there. Like it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But that I think is a luxury. I would say that most people don't get wrong. All right, who gets? Yeah, and you said Park Hyatt gets it right. So there you go. Like you've answered all the questions. What haven't we covered? Where should
Where should the three? Well, what I really want to know is like, who's the shout out to? What are we manifesting for some group to invite us to whatever island, to whatever new hotel to check it out and do part 2 of this podcast? What's that?
Part 2 of the podcast, I'm going to put as airlines because I have a lot of thoughts.
Yes, you do.
Which airline should we do?
I mean, I went on Emirates recently, and it was interesting because I hadn't been on Emirates in a while. But like, you get on and you put on the headphones, right? And the headphones were already playing a podcast that was about kind of the future of Dubai, and it was very interesting, and like, but it was like already kind of bringing you into the world, right? It could have been weird, but it was actually really well done. It was definitely like a puff piece for Dubai, and like it was okay. But like there, like they came around and they have the little like, amenity packs or whatever of like your eye mask and that. But they gave you like different colorways, and they were like, which would you like? And like, I think we could do a whole thing on like how airlines could level up because some of them need some help.
Here's what I'll say. I'll say we should go on Air France, but we should do La Première.
Oh, okay.
Their first
here
class.
For that. Great.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
The Jacquemus pajamas.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yes.
I'm in. Say less.
I mean, we could just do, whoever wants to have us compare all of the first classes of all the world and then write a thought piece on that. I'm here for that assignment. So
we volunteer.
Hit me.
Amazing. Yes. Okay. Well.
All right. Well, thank you, Tori, for coming on and telling us and giving everybody travel envy and a very solid summer itinerary.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It's been a blast, Tori. Thank you.
This was so much fun.
Ciao.
All right. Till next time.
Bye.
That was it for this episode of Good Thinking. Don't forget to tune in next week.
If you found this valuable, subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast app.
And don't forget to read on Substack for even more insights.
And if you really liked it, drop us a heart. We'd love to hear from you.
Ciao. Until next time.